Mrs. Read back to share another read aloud story with you. I'm taking a break from our chapter book to read a short story. This is a book called Owen, and it's written by Henkes. And some of our school friends will notice the Caldecott Award. You might have seen this in our library, but it's a good story. It's about Owen. And Owen has something that he loves, but his family thinks he's outgrowing it. So this is causing a bit of a problem. Let's find out how they solve this problem. So as usual, sit back, relax, and get ready to be a listener. Owen by Henkes. Owen had a fuzzy yellow blanket. He'd had it since he was a baby. He loved it with all of his heart. I'm a grown-up, and I have to say, I still have a piece of my blanket. Fuzzy goes wherever I go, said Owen. And Fuzzy did. Upstairs, downstairs, in between, inside, outside, and upside down. Fuzzy likes what I like, said Owen. And Fuzzy did. Orange juice, grape juice, chocolate milk, ice cream, peanut butter, and applesauce cake. Notice Fuzzy looks a little bit dirty there. He really does take him everywhere. Isn't he getting a little bit old to be carrying that thing around? Asked Mrs. Tweezers. Haven't you heard of the blanket fairy? Mrs. Tweezers is their neighbor. Owen's parents hadn't. Mrs. Tweezers filled them in. This is Mrs. Tweezers chatting with Owen's mom over the fence. Chatting with Mom and Dad. And Owen marching around with his blanket dragging on the ground. That night, Owen's parents told Owen to put Fuzzy under his pillow. In the morning, Fuzzy would be gone, but the blanket fairy would leave an absolutely wonderful, positively perfect, especially terrific big boy gift in its place. What does that sound like to you? Owen stuffed Fuzzy inside his pajama pants, and then he went to sleep. No blanket fairy, said Owen in the morning. Huh, no kidding, said Owen's mother. No wonder, said Owen's father. So this is Owen concealing or hiding Fuzzy. And this is Owen sharing the news that the blanket fairy didn't come. Surprise! Notice where his blanket is. That's kind of clever, I guess. Fuzzy's dirty, said Owen's mother. Fuzzy's torn and ratty, said Owen's father. No, said Owen. Fuzzy is perfect. And Fuzzy was. Fuzzy played Captain Plunger with Owen. I'll show you that picture in a minute. Fuzzy helped Owen become invisible. So this is Owen listening to Mom and Dad say that he's dirty and torn, and Owen saying, no, he's perfect. He looks a little worried, doesn't he? And this is Owen playing Captain Plunger. I never did that with my blanket. No potty with a blanket. And that's him being kept invisible. And Fuzzy was essential when it came to nail clippings, haircuts, trips to the dentist. "You can't be a baby forever," said Mrs. Tweezers. "Haven't you heard of the vinegar trick?" Owen's parents had not. Mrs. Tweezers filled them in. Mrs. Tweezers has a lot of thoughts on this whole subject, doesn't she? Sounds like Fuzzy is quite a comfort to our friend Owen. I know my blanket was. When Owen wasn't looking, his father dipped Owen's favorite corner of Fuzzy into a jar of vinegar. Owen sniffed it and smelled it, and then he picked a new favorite corner. What a little clever problem solver. Then he rubbed that smelly corner all around in his sandbox, and he buried it in the garden, and then he dug it up again, and he said, "Good as new." Oh, Owen. He's putting up a good fight there with this blanket. He's holding firm, finding all kinds of clever ways to get around this issue. Fuzzy wasn't very fuzzy anymore, but Owen didn't mind. He carried it, he wore it, and he dragged it all around. And he sucked on it, he hugged it, and he twisted it. Oh my gracious, Fuzzy went in the bathtub. Well, maybe he's clean now. He sure does love that blanket, doesn't he? "What are we going to do?" asked Owen's mother. "School is starting soon," said Owen's father. "You can't bring a blanket to school," said Mrs. Tweezers. "Haven't you ever heard of just saying no?" This is no in sign language. 2 fingers like that. Haven't you ever heard of saying no? Owen's parents hadn't. Wow, my parents knew that word. Mrs. Tweezers filled them in. "But I have to bring a Fuzzy to school," said Owen. "No," said Owen's mother. "No," said Owen's father. Owen buried his face in Fuzzy, and he started to cry, and it would not stop. "Don't worry," said Owen's mother. "It'll be all right," said Owen's father. And then suddenly, Owen's mother said, "Oh, I have an idea." It was an absolutely wonderful, positively perfect, especially terrific idea. First, she snipped, and then she sewed. And then she snipped, and she sewed some more. She's working real hard on that Fuzzy. Snip, 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 sew, sew, sew. Snip, 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 sew, sew, sew. Dry your eyes and wipe your nose. Hooray, hooray, hooray! Now, Owen carries. This is what she did. Now Owen carries one of his fuzzy handkerchiefs with him wherever he goes. So look at, she made all of one big fuzzy into a whole bunch of little fuzzy handkerchief sizes so that he could carry it discreetly. Now notice Fuzzy. Fuzzy can still go everywhere. He's just not dragging a huge blanket around. So he can put it in his backpack or his coat pocket, and Fuzzy will be there for him. And now, Mrs. Tweezers doesn't say a thing. And that, my friends, is the end. I love how understanding Mr. Owen's mom and dad were about the whole Fuzzy situation. and how everybody came up with different ways to solve this problem, but in the end, there was one that worked for everybody. Thanks for tuning in and for being a great listener, and I'll see you next time.